the indigenous representatives from around the world. You have traveled long distances, physically, but also in the struggle to achieve your rights.
The document is made up of 9 key sections: foundational rights, life and security, language, culture and spiritual identity, education, information and employment, participation, development and economic and social rights, rights to country, resources and our knowledge, self-governance.
At the moment, we are Biafrans by indigenous identity, even though we are Nigerians by citizenship, which was forced upon us. The first thing is that we were separate before the British came. You can see map of Africa. In 1707, there was no Nigeria there. You can see, there was no Nigeria there. But you can see Biafra. You can see that green. That is Biafra. We are Biafrans and we can never deny our ancestral heritage, our ancestral identity, our father's name. It is impossible.
Nigeria is a colonial government. We have the right. It is our right, inalienable right, to fight for our self-determination and sovereignty, which was stolen from us by the British.
We want a Biafra nation because Biafra has always been in existence before the coming of the British. It is Nigeria that is an artificial man-made creation. Had Nigeria been created by Black Africans, perhaps there won't be any problem at all, because that would have taken a series of discussions and negotiations before people will decide to live together. Nigeria is a very random geopolitical construction created for the convenience of the British. It has never worked, it will never work. People are together who don't like each other, who don't like one another, and that is why there is so much pain and suffering. The only way to alleviate that pain and suffering is for everybody to go back to where they come from and decide in whatever manner, way, or process that they desire to be able to develop their own life.
Hello, this is BVI Channel 1 and I am Asu Peters. This morning I have to talk about, just very briefly, the explanation in detail of what IPOB is all about and the reasons why the federal government of Nigeria, the government as led by President Muhammad Buhari, cannot in any stance declare IPOB as a terrorist organization or proscribe IPOB. The reason why I say this is because the current news, the trend now on the media, social media, is the proscription of IPOB as a terrorist organization or declaring it as a terrorist organization. Now, I don't want to go into detail because everyone knows very clearly that IPOB have never applied any form of terror in our agitation for self-determination. But that is not the area I'm going to be talking about this morning. What I want to talk about right now is understanding who and what IPOB is all about. Who is an IPOB and what is IPOB? IPOB, from the original stance of it, from its meaning, literal meaning of that word IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra. Indigenous people of Biafra is not an organization. We have continued to say this, but it seems that general public, even some Biafran people, seems not to understand in detail why we say that indigenous people of Biafra is not an organization. So, I would like to make you understand this in a very clear and simple format. Indigenous people of Biafra, where this word was coined out from, is as a result of the historical perspective of the people of Biafra. If you are from a particular place, if you are born by or from a particular race, that entitles you to become an indigene of that place. You know, people can continue to confuse between people have always been confused with the term citizenship and indigenous identity. In the context of Biafran people in Nigeria, Biafrans in Nigeria are Nigerians by citizenship, but Biafrans by indigenous identity. Biafran people are not the only people that are indigenous by identity in Nigeria. You have the Oduduwas and the Arewas. They are indigenous by identity within the geographical description today called Nigeria. Now, what makes someone a citizen and what makes someone an indigenous person? I am an indigenous person of Biafra because my father, my mother are Biafrans. My ancestors are Biafrans. When the white men came to Africa for their colonial expedition, they met our forefathers as Biafrans. The map, the ancient map of Africa made it very clear. The materials you see there, historically, there are facts, verifiable facts, to prove that Biafran people have been existing before colonization. Now, taking it down or connecting it with the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People, which triggered the current agitation by Biafran people as indigenous people, trying to exercise those rights as declared by the United Nations. We all, or some people might know, or some people may not know, that on September 13, 2007, the United Nations made a declaration for rights of indigenous people all over the world. Right to self-determination, right to have your country, right to rule yourself, right to spiritual and cultural identity, and many other rights. Now, who is an indigenous person as described by the United Nations? From their description or definition of indigenous people, the United Nations made it clear that indigenous people are those people who have been existing as a nation before their colonization or before their transformation into a nation state. More times, who have been victims of colonization, those who have been undermined, those who colonization has changed their historical progression, those who have been, their identity have been altered by the colonial arrangement. These are the people the United Nations actually explained to be called the indigenous people. Now, in this context, narrowing it down to Biafran people, the Biafrans took up this case against the federal government of Nigeria to determine whether or not the Biafran people are indigenous by identity. The case is currently going on in Federal High Court Owerri, as instituted by the customary government of indigenous people of Biafra through the Supreme Council of Elders that gave power of attorney to BVI Human Rights Initiative, the legal body which is standing as a legal representative of the indigenous people of Biafra in court today at the Federal High Court of Owerri. The case, when it's being called up, it reads that suit between indigenous people of Biafra as represented by BVI Human Rights Initiative versus federal government of Nigeria as represented by the Attorney General of the Federation. Now, how can, in a simple format, how can the federal government of Nigeria proscribe the same people they are in court with is that not what they call, that legal jargon they call contempt of the court? How can you declare those who have dragged you to your own court, to the Nigerian court, how can you declare them terrorist organization? Now, I want to say it particularly clear that the federal government whatsoever lacks the powers to declare indigenous people of Biafra terrorist organization, because starting with, IPOB is not an organization. IPOB is a people, is a nation, is a people agitating, demanding for their right to exercise their right as declared by United Nations, which Nigeria is bound to, which Nigeria is a signatory to when that declaration was made by United Nations, and by extension, African Union. So the rights of indigenous people cannot be undermined by the federal government of Nigeria. As represented by indigenous people of Biafra, the indigenous people of Arewa, the indigenous people of Oduduwa, it depends on who wants to exercise it for our own right. In Nigeria today, the Biafra people are at the front burner in agitating for their right to self-determination, to decide whether or not they want to be part of Nigeria or they want out of Nigeria. Recently, the Yoruba people made their own declaration seeking the same self-determination, with the condition that if Nigeria is not restructured in a manner that will reflect the indigenous people that were pulled together forcefully by the colonial masters, the British government, the colonial government, in 1914, they called it amalgamation, but I call it forced marriage, because none of the constituent parts, none of the national identities that were brought together to form what we call Nigeria today were consulted. None of them were consulted before this amalgamation took place. And as a result, those who were conscripted into this colonial contraction called Nigeria have the right to stand up in this modern time where every man, every human is a freeborn. Now I must say this, that everyone in Nigeria, just like President Muhammad Buhari, have continued endlessly to agitate for the freedom of the Palestinian people, their rights, and other Sahel countries within African region. Every one of them have right to self-determination, as well the Biafra people in Nigeria today. So if the president of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, in his wisdom and in his infinite regards, let me put it that way, to rule of law, to law and order, to the United Nations Charter, if he is committed sincerely to the charters of United Nations, as he continues to say, and advocate for the rights of other people for their self-determination, then he lacks what it takes to stop the Biafra people from exercising the same right. I want to say this, and I want to say, tell the world this, that the indigenous people of Biafra, we are a people, we are not an organization. We are a people agitating for self-determination, so that we can decide if we want to continue to remain within this contraption called Nigeria, as manufactured by the British colonial government. Now, I want to turn over to the Biafran people, because I've heard some of them say, I am a member of IPOB, I am a member of, and it worries me a lot, and I'll continue to say this. How can you be a member of your nationality in terms of seeing it as an organization? Some people have gone to the extent of registering their members. Some people have gone to swearing, giving them an oath. Some people have continued to tell them that if you don't join us, then you're not an IPOB. They see IPOB as one of those pro-Biafran groups like Maso, BLC, and the rest of them. Let me tell you this. Whether you are a Masobian, whether you are a BLC, whether you are a member of the Human Rights Initiative, whether you are any form of Biafran groups, we are all, by our indigenous identity, Biafrans. Now let me say this as a concluding part. I can decide to be a citizen of any country I choose to if I meet with the requirements of that country to become their citizen. Today I am a Nigerian citizen. Tomorrow I can be a British citizen. The next I can be a United States of America citizen. I can be a French citizen, German citizen, Israeli citizen. Any country I choose, South African citizen, I can become a citizen of any country I choose. So far, I met with the demands and requirements to become a citizen of that country. And when I do, it doesn't change my indigenous identity. Now hear this. You have the right to choose which citizenship you are to become. I can declare myself a stateless man. I can denounce my citizenship of Nigeria and become stateless if I do not have any other country that I've met in their citizenship requirement. I can become stateless. It is my right, it's my choice. So I can decide to become a citizen of any place I choose to. Nobody has the right to decide for me which citizenship I ought to explore as a person. Nobody has the right to tell me that I can not be a citizen of the country that I want to become. Now, one thing you must know is that you have the choice to choose your citizenship, but you don't have the choice to choose your indigenous identity. If I like, let me become an American citizen. I will continue to be an indigenous person of Biafra. It doesn't change my color. It doesn't change my historical background. It doesn't change my race. It doesn't change anything about me apart from paperwork. That citizenship got to do with paperwork, but being an indigenous person got to do with nature and history. So you are not in a position to declare yourself a non-indigenous. Every human is an indigenous of a place. Historically, if you like, bleach yourself, turn from black to white or turn from white to black, it doesn't change anything. So, from all this, you have to understand that being an indigenous person, you cannot proscribe a people. You cannot call a nation, a people, terrorists, just simply because they are asking for their right to exercise their right to self-determination. To decide through referendum, not even through war, to decide through referendum whether or not they want to continue to remain in Nigeria or out of Nigeria. So why have headache about this? So I want to make this and say this emphatically and take this message to the Nigerian government, take this message to the person of Buhari, tell him that I say he lacks the power to declare IPOB a terrorist organization. He lacks the power to declare indigenous people of Biafra a terrorist organization because of the fact that we are not an organization, we are a people. I have to understand that there are some misguided elements. There are some people who do not understand the process of independence agitation in this 21st century. I've always continued to say this. Many of my Biafran comrades may not like this, but I have to tell you the truth the way it is, because that is what we stand for. In this platform, we are not here to be politically correct, and we are not here to entertain you with what you want to hear. We are here to tell you the truth the way it is. And I'm telling this to my fellow Biafran comrades. You have to understand that we have to play this game by the rules. You don't have to play this outside the rules. I bet to agree with some people that say that people are politically naive. That is correct. That doesn't mean that we don't know what to do. But doing it actually becomes a problem. We have time to redress ourselves and follow the laid down map. Even if you don't accept that, let us all come together, design a template to follow in order for us to achieve self-determination. We cannot continue to do what we have been doing since 1999 and expect the world to come to our aid and our attention. Don't forget that 3.5 billion people or Biafran people were massacred during the genocide war. Up to today, the world swept it under the carpet. And we think that if one of us or 100,000 of us is being killed today, that the world will do anything other than what they did before? We have to take these things step by step. We have a wide opportunity, wide gate open, wide gate of an opportunity open to us to grab our freedom. But we have chosen to walk through the wrong path, thinking that by protesting, hanging flags on the street, using strong words, trying to use fear factor to get Biafra, I don't think that will happen. Our people are Biafran enthusiasts. The general public, if you come, even those in government who deny their Biafranism, inside their mind, they are Biafran enthusiasts. So the general public who are wearing, who are at the corner of the shoe where it bites must apply wisdom. At this time, we must apply wisdom, maximum wisdom, if we have a chance to be free. What are we going to do? Some of us have advised us not to lay all our process, our plan on the public. Now I want to say this. I will lay all the plans, the proposals, the blueprint that we've already prepared to follow this through the legal process, but for the purpose of the general public, I want to tell you that Biafrans, through the customary government as led by the Supreme Council of Elders, the chairman who is retired Chief Justice Osobo, deputized by Dr. Dozie Kebife and other elders, are taking the legal process. That is why they made that suit. They started that suit for self-determination in Nigerian court to determine whether or not Biafra people have right to self-determination, whether or not Biafra people are indigenous people, and these cases and many other things are still at the court of law. And also diplomatically, they have engaged the United Nations through ECOSOC department, and politically, although we tried, we had a setback, we didn't fail, we learned a lot, which means now we've gone back to our shell, we've gone back to our drawing board to design a better template to launch our political revolution once more. Now, that is for the public. But I want you to know this, that the Biafra people are still consulting themselves, trying to pull together. If every pro-Biafra leader should come down from his high horse. Come down from your high horse. It is time for us to reason together. It is time for us to talk together as a people. Please, I want to say this. Please, please, please. This is no time to start segregating between this pro-Biafran group and the other. It is even very difficult for people to hang their flags in their cars, in the public places, where in their offices and restaurants. People are now afraid. People are now apprehensive of identifying with Biafra only because we made some few mistakes. There is time to redress that. We have time to take over our land politically and expel all these politicians. You saw how the southeastern governors proscribed IPOB. You saw how they proscribed IPOB. Yet they are pushing to give land that belongs to you and I to Fulani henchmen who have been going around terrorizing, destroying farmlands, raping women, and causing all sorts of havoc. These people have not been deemed fit to be called or termed terrorist organizations. They are not, by any chance, from the federal government declared as proscribed. It is only peaceful protest. Look at the children. Look at the young people who are just there, demanding peacefully, without any form of weapon. In fact, it is a joke. When I read the text, when the Nigerian Defense Headquarters come up with their declaration of IPOB, etc., and what they say that they are carrying, they arm themselves with bottles, and not even machete, bottles, stones, stick, and the rest of them. You can imagine. How can you use that to unleash terror? But I must say this, that it is good money that gave rise to our youth. We should as Biafran people, we should not give the Nigerian authorities reasons to kill our people. We should not bring ourselves in the line in confrontation with the Nigerian security operatives. From the beginning. So you should understand that your position, your agitation is getting some people seriously unrested. So they will do everything to quench that desire at all costs. So you don't give them the reason to do that. Do you know that we can achieve Biafra without any one of us on the street? And things will be happening. And Nigeria will be placed to stand still.